Be making bases.
All right, so now we have a little compression added to the kick drum. Let's also add it to the snare. For my personal opinion, from my personal experience, the kick and the snare, those usually have to really be the ones that they need to be standing out in the mix the most, I would say. And so that's why I would add compression to them first. And again, you don't want to add too much compression, but let's go ahead and throw some compression on the snare here. And we want that snare to pop out a little bit more. Now we're going to do this one without a preset just to kind of show you some settings that you probably should want to, put down on these instruments. Let's listen to it. So again, what the threshold is meaning is basically at what level the compression is going to start working. Okay. And it can make the sounds, the actual sound more smushed, or kind of more free as you set it at certain levels. Okay. Okay, now as you were seeing, when I was pulling the threshold down lower, it was giving like a harder, punchier sound. That's really because as soon as that hit a certain level, like when the signal first came in here, that's when it's gonna, really pop out. I'm gonna mute these, and one thing again you want to keep in mind is that when you add or take away certain things, a lot of times in the mix you have to adjust other things in the mix. So for instance, this might be a situation where we want to come through here and redo some of the levels. Let's just listen to with the kick and the snare. All right, now you might be asking, well, why'd you put the turn the the signal from stereo to mono? Well, with the kick drum and the snare drum, you want that to be coming right down the middle a lot of times, unless you want to give a certain effect, like say if you have a clap that you want to be wide in the mix or whatever. But for this particular track, I'm gonna have everything coming in mono as far as on the kick and the snare. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust some of these levels, and what you could do is a simple thing is just go highlight everything and bring it down slightly. Let's listen to it now. All right, so this is a basic tutorial as far as with the, compressing the snare. Things to keep in mind, again, use presets. I didn't on this particular track. I just started off with the basic compressor. I was explaining to you basic settings. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give you specifics because specific settings doesn't make sense in a sense because of, every snare is going to be different. And it's going to be, it's going to give you a different sound based on the type of instruments that you're working with. So it's better to understand the settings than it is to understand certain specific setting that you should put. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? It's better to understand how to manipulate it than, always put it at this value, because it's not always going to work at that value. Another thing to understand about this is, like, anytime you're doing something to the track, as you're mixing, taking away, or adding, you might have to adjust the rest of the tracks in order to, compensate for that. So I want you to keep these things in mind. Again, if you have questions, please ask. Thanks for watching.